Megan Story of Ward Law LLC. I represent the respondent, Ms. Carissa Elston, who is present and accounted for today.
Right, thank you, counsel. Are we just taking up the motion for temporary orders today?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm not sure, Your Honor. We had filed the first contempt and then there was a counter contempt. And then there was the motion to set temporary orders. And then I filed a response, but the parties, what day? The 15th? The parties go meet with the domestic conciliator the 15th. So I'm assuming all of our various contempts are there. We just probably need to set some regular parenting time.
Okay, do we have like a full day setting at some point on some of this stuff, or?
No.
Okay.
And that's why I didn't know how you wanted to do that. As
I
far
know aren't the temporary orders motion kind of tied into the contempt issues?
yes, the parenting plan that the parties were doing since 2017. They changed the Tuesday, so it's every Wednesday. It's supposed to be overnight, but that hasn't occurred for years. And then every other weekend. And so Miss Story and I thought it would be a good idea to get some kind of temporary orders, but of course she's asking for supervised visitation because of the minor child Xander wanting to spend more time on Memorial Day. And I'm hoping that all of this can resolve itself through the domestic conciliator.
Okay, and that process is getting ready to start soon?
On the 15th.
Okay. So really you all just want some temporary parenting orders as you work your way through the DC process? Is that a fair?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor. This case has been pretty contentious and the parties have not been able to reach agreement on temporary orders or what the regular parenting time has been. Without getting too much into the contempt, Mr. Rothgeb, sorry, I have a hard time saying his last name for some reason. Mr. Rothgeb was supposed to have parenting time over Memorial Weekend. He picked the child up without informing mom from school a day early, which is what part of our contempt is. But then he took the child, what we believe, out of state without informing her, and then kept the child past when he was supposed to return the child. That's Xander. As far as Briar, they have not been exercising parenting time with Briar. We are requesting that happen therapeutically. He's attempted to pick him up for his parenting time at the school, and Briar has literally run away from him at the school and won't tell anybody what's happening. We have him in therapy, and we've requested that Mr. Rothgeb get a therapist and that therapist integrate Briar and his father back together. As far as Xander, due to the father taking Xander without informing mom, he informed her he wanted to take him early. There was no agreement that he would take him early. So there's just been some ongoing issues. We need a temporary order set. We would like it to be supervised with Xander because of the issue over the holiday weekend. And now after that, Mr. Rothgeb has been having Xander call his mom to ask if he can stay longer. We don't want her to be made out to be the bad guy, but she wants her parenting time with Xander also. So they need some guidance. There's not been guidance for these parties in a long time, Your Honor, and they really need some guidance on where to go from here. But we're requesting that both parenting time for Briar and Xander be supervised until they go to DC and we can figure out what's happening. The domestic conciliator can talk with the therapist to see what's going on with Briar, and talk with Xander to see what's going on in the home. So
How old is Xander?
12.
And Breyer is how old?
10. And
All right,
Your
and
Honor,
why
if I could-
hasn't, just a minute, Mr. Kidwell, and why hasn't Mr. Rothgeb been having parenting time with Breyer?
because mom believes that Breyer has sustained some kind of trauma, even though he's never been physically punished as part of, parenting duties or anything else. And it's also because of the continuing alienation. She was talking about Memorial Day. So my client had Xander this weekend, and Xander, he doesn't tell the child to call Miss Elston. Xander calls on his own. And since mom had 4th of July last year, which was supposed to be dad's year, and she said, no, I have family coming in, you're not getting the kids. Xander wanted to spend this 4th of July with his dad. And so he called mom. And then when he got home, mom got the paperwork out and showed him what the original orders were. And there's been numerous orders that say, don't talk about these things. So it's crazy. The temporary orders that in our response, we recommended a split custody. My client to have Xander, Miss Story's client to have Breyer, and then alternating weekends, switch the children out Friday at 4 to Sunday at 6, one midweek evening from 4 p.m. to a reasonable hour, summer break equally in alternating 2-week blocks, and of course follow the parenting schedule.
What's
holiday parenting.
what's wrong with the parenting plan that's already an order of the court from the underlying?
We don't think anything is wrong with it.
Ms. Story, what from your perspective is wrong with the current parenting plan?
Well, Your Honor, they haven't been following it. At one point, Mr. Rothgeb moved out of Kansas, moved back, and when he moved back, they changed dates. They have not been following that parenting plan, Your Honor. And so anytime there's confusion or anytime somebody wants parenting time, there's a fight, there's some sort of contention between the parties because there's not an updated or new parenting plan to reflect what they have been doing. I would like to address Mr. Kidwell's accusations against my client, Your Honor. And a lot of this will come up in DC, and we have proof of this that will go to DC. We just needed temporary orders set today, but if we're gonna go into everything, we'll go into everything. Breyer has expressed some terror of going with his father. His father tried to pick him up from school. He would not go. It involved a police report being made. He has refused to go with his father, including running out of the house to get away from him. We have asked that they go to therapy together to try to facilitate. My client has not alienated the child from his father. In fact, he hasn't requested parenting time with the child and is now asking for split custody to take Xander and not Breyer. So I would like the court to take that into consideration as we move forward. There is something going on in these kids' lives. We would like some sort of communication that's on a parenting app. We request that it would be Our Family Wizard so everything is documented. We also request that any type of communication between the parents and the children is also on Our Family Wizard. I talked with Our Family Wizard. They create child accounts because one of the reasons is because Mr. Rothgeb has talked directly to Xander on his phone and on the Memorial Day weekend was telling him to come see him. And the only reason my client knew that the child was gone is she saw the child get into his car when she went to go pick him up from school at her scheduled time. He did not tell her that he had the child. There's a lot of contention going on in this case, and they need domestic conciliation. The children are in therapy. The children missed therapy when their father kept them over the Memorial Day weekend. So they missed the therapy appointment they were supposed to have. And these parties need guidance, Your Honor, and we're requesting that it be supervised. We think split custody is ridiculous. Um,
Why is it necessary that his visits be supervised?
Your Honor, we're requesting the ones with Xander be supervised because he did take off with Xander over the Memorial Day weekend and did not bring him back. And that is exhibited in our notebook F and G and H. The child was not returned until I reached out to Mr. Kidwell via email and expressed concern and asked whether the father was even in town, Your Honor. We believe he wasn't in town during the parenting time. We can't prove that. We have requested that he let us know when his drill is, because he does have drill, and we think that's when he was out of town that weekend and he left the child with, I believe his wife, her name is Cassie, and the stepchildren. That's why we're requesting it to be supervised with Xander, because he doesn't bring Xander back.
Have there been more instances than that where that's occurred?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, there's been several more issues that I guess if we're going to go into it, I'll bring it up. I think she should have supervised visitation also.
Have there been any concerns with mental abuse, physical abuse, or is it just simply the allegation that he didn't return the child when he was supposed to?
There's been no physical abuse. He would never harm his own children.
Your Honor,
Yes.
there's concern of mental abuse on our end, which is part of the reason the children are in therapy. There's something going on with Briar. He will not go see his father, and he won't disclose to the therapist yet what is happening. He will not disclose to his mother. He won't disclose to his father. He runs away from his father. We truly believe that Mr. Rothgeb is planting some seeds for Xander. Xander has gotten into some trouble, not legal trouble, but it could have been that where his father has, well, for instance, one was punching somebody at school, and his father was going to reward him with an ice cream. And the other was he did something to a Catholic playground and got caught on video, and dad said, we'll just pay it off, and mom had him work it off. Part of our concern is that he's talking with Xander to try to get Xander to get in trouble at mom's house so that he can have this split custody that he's requesting, where Xander stay with him because he gets in trouble at school or gets in trouble with the law. Now, again, these are allegations, but we have concerns, and we are hoping that these concerns get addressed through DC, whether they make an agreement or not, because we'll have a third party who can look into everything and get to the bottom of what's happening. But until then, we are requesting that it be supervised.
May I respond?
Mr. Kidwell, let me ask you this. What's your client's position on the visits with Briar?
In order to get back into what we believe is wrong with Briar, and I'm not trying to avoid the question at all.
Is he willing to do, or does he feel that having some sort of therapy with Briar?
Yes, he was only advised last week from Miss Elston that the child has therapy on Mondays, and he's asked numerous times for the name of the therapist so that he can begin to get involved, and she refuses to respond to it. And as far as, you know, my client being able to celebrate holidays or birthdays with Briar, she's disallowed that for a year. So I don't know what's causing it, but there's no psychological abuse, there's no physical abuse. And Ms. Story is correct, because we both asked our clients, what do you think it could be when we had a settlement conference? What is wrong? And he won't tell anybody. But if my client doesn't even know about it, doesn't even get to spend time with the child, we don't know. But I certainly don't believe that supervised visits is appropriate. We should stick with the same schedule that they have, and obviously let the domestic conciliator see or make a recommendation if they can't resolve anything in the required mediation aspect of it per statute.
All right. Obviously, all of these issues do need to be sorted out in domestic conciliation. But as far as a temporary order goes, I'm inclined just to have the parties follow the existing order as written. And if Mr. Kidwell, your client, is deviating from that and keeping the child when the mother hasn't agreed to extend the visit, he needs to stop doing that. Typically, the parents follow the order unless there's an agreement to deviate from it. And he's expected to do that, as is Miss Elston.
Thank
But
you.
on a temporary basis, and I don't want to expand what's already been ordered. Again, I think that's what they're going to domestic conciliation for. But if you all are just wanting guidance on a temporary order, I'm going to order that they follow the existing order that was from Judge Mott. And I think that's the.
They've modified that. They used to have Tuesday, he would have a Tuesday overnight, but she requested Wednesday. And then she stopped the overnights, so she'll allow the visits, but then she picks the kids up at 6. And then
Okay, so was the modification was not reduced to court order?
No, Your Honor.
oh, they've just been doing it for years.
If that's what.
So it's
was
every other
here-
weekend and then every Wednesday
So
overnight.
it was a de facto modification that they agreed to follow or not?
No, Your Honor, our client is, we're representing that these changes have been unilateral by Mr. Rothgeb, mostly because he's been in and out. He'll have parenting time with them in 2020, he left, he came back. These changes are just by the whim of when he comes back and when he's wanting these changes to be made. They have not been agreed upon, but part of the reason we're asking for temporary orders that are separate from what was originally ordered is because they don't even live in the same cities that when those were ordered. They lived 10 minutes away when that was ordered, and now they live 45 minutes away, which is also an issue with parenting time. But again, these changes were not reduced to a parenting plan, and they change from day to day. She'll get a text message that says, hey, does this work instead? So they need something concrete as far as temporary orders to get them through to domestic conciliation because what they're doing, Your Honor, does not work. And I understand that it is the parenting plan, but there is something every week that comes up.
And of course, we deny all of that.
Okay, I'm gonna stop both of you there. First of all, I'm not gonna order that his visits be supervised. So having that out of the way, what is your proposal, Miss Story, for a temporary order?
Your Honor, for Xander, we would request every other weekend. And then for Briar, we would still request that it be through therapy. If they're gonna have some parenting time with Briar, Your Honor, we're concerned that since there hasn't been some and he has shown some fear, to throw him into every other weekend might not be great for his mental well-being.
Where does Mr. Rothgeb live?
Here in Wichita,
And
I'm sorry, Valley Center. Your Honor,
Miss Elston lives in Augusta? Or no? Was that yes?
Yes, Your Honor, can you hear me?
I can now, yes.
Your Honor, for clarification on the record, it's been stated several times that my client moved away. He was deployed in 2020. He didn't move away. He came back after deployment.
Okay.
And I think that every other weekend and one night a week should remain, at least for Xander, until Miss Elston gives him the information as far as,
Is
Like I
that what
said,
he's doing currently, every other weekend and one night a week?
yes.
What night of the week?
They had done Tuesday, but they had agreed to switch it to Wednesday.
So where
So-
would he prefer? When would he prefer to have it?
What day do you want during every week? Tuesday
You're
or
on-
Wednesday?
I'm gonna
Just stay
ask
with
you the same
Wednesdays 'cause
question,
That's what
Mr.
they're
Story.
used to.
The same
Yeah, just
Wednesday?
keep it Wednesday because that's what they're used to.
My client stated that because that's what the children are used to, he'd like to keep it Wednesday and then drop the child or children, whatever, how this is gonna play out with her the next day and then every other weekend. Thank
Right.
you.
Ms. Story, and what is your client's position on a one night during the week?
Well, Your Honor, him doing overnights during the week has not been consistent. It's been on and off. We would request that if you do a time during the week, that it not be overnight, that he come back home. It's usually 6 or 7, like 6 when he comes back home to mom. And we have text messages where father has said to come pick him up at 6.
Because she asked.
She
what time.
unilaterally asks to get the child at 6, otherwise the child would spend the night.
Well, whatever the parties have done or not done on unilaterally changing things, that needs to stop. We're gonna set these and this is what's gonna be expected to be followed until you all get a permanent plan through domestic conciliation or otherwise. So the Wednesday nights currently have not been overnights, or they have been overnights.
Mom has decided to pick the child up at 6, so he's not been allowed his overnights.
Don't you? Your Honor, that is incorrect. There were times where my client has asked if he was keeping Xander overnight, and during the school year, it was an issue because he wasn't bringing him to school on time. And there were times where he has said, please pick him up. We can keep throwing allegations back and forth. It has not been consistent overnight parenting time when there has been parenting time, Your Honor.
Okay, well, the original, I'm gonna make it Wednesday, every other weekend, and Wednesday night as it reads in the original order. Instead of every Tuesday evening, it'll be every Wednesday evening from after petitioner gets off work or the children get out of school until Wednesday morning, when the petitioner delivers the minor children to school or daycare. Now, obviously, they're not in school right now, but that will change here, mid-August? Where will they be going to school?
Augusta, Your Honor, and we're also requesting specific times, just because there's been issues there about everything.
All right, when would it be a time for where have the exchanges been occurring?
Your Honor,
When
that's.
when I get off work, I go to her house and pick them up, and when she comes and gets them, she comes to my house.
And
Or
Your
we
Honor,
can meet at like the Casey's in Augusta or the Quick Shop in Valley Center.
That's why we also agree that there should only be a parenting app, as Ms. Story, and we discussed that in great detail. You have to have the names of doctors and therapists and all these things, so both parents can see, even if it's on his Wednesday night, if there's something that the child needs to be participating in that they both agree on, then he has to do that, and the same with every other weekend.
All right, so both parties agree they need to use an app. Any objection to using Our Family Wizard?
None.
That's
No,
the order, that's the order of the court.
Your Honor, if we
Go
can
ahead.
go to where exchanges are taking place, we specifically requested that it be at a Quick Trip or the Casey's. I would like the court to know that those were not Mr. Rothgeb or Mr. Kidwell's ideas. Those were suggested by me. And we put those in the parenting plan. They were not agreed to. That is something that we were pushing for. Now, the one that we asked for is no longer in business. And so the Quick Trip we're requesting is Quick Trip 12825 East 21st at Street North, is that South North? Wichita, Kansas 67230. It is 20 minutes away from Augusta and 21 from Valley Center, which is 13.5 miles from mom, 16.5 miles from dad.
Which is
We would like the to have as limited communication and interaction as possible, which is why we were requesting that it not be at each other's homes. We do request that updated address of where dad is living. Dad has informed the children that he does not want mom knowing what his address is, but if the children are over there, she has a right to know.
He's
that.
got to provide the address.
I've never withheld the address.
Okay.
Your Honor.
These parties need to stop whatever it is they're doing and communicate with one another and quit all of this back and forth. These kids are 12 and 10. This is ridiculous. Is the quick trip that's been suggested appropriate or agreeable with your client, Mr. Kidwell?
Off the 21st Street.
Yeah,
I mean,
he agrees that it's halfway, but the way they had been doing it, and Miss Story just explained that, try to reduce, even though there is no contact, the child or children get out of the car. So he would go drive to her house in Augusta, get him, and then she would come pick him up. But if it's going to save time, that's fine. What was the address again?
825 East 21st Street North, Wichita, Kansas 67230. And I can email that to you too.
Thank you.
Okay, that'll be the exchange location. Time for the
time?
exchange to occur.
when I go to get them,
Or
or
what time do the exchanges occur on that,
This is on the Wednesday.
on the Wednesday?
right, I understand that, Your Honor. Am I picking them up at the Casey's?
No, you're gonna go to this quick trip.
That's for when I have them. I thought,
No, that's
Okay.
just an exchange point, because
Yeah.
it's equidistant to both of you. It's 20
Three.
minutes away.
3:30?
My client's requesting 3:30.
Does that work for your client, Ms. Story?
Is this for Wednesdays?
Yes.
Your Honor, my client is requesting Wednesdays from 4 p.m. She's requesting 6 p.m., Your Honor, but you did just say that it would be overnight, so let me discuss with her.
Well, 3:30 is not going to give her time to get the children to Quick Trip when school gets out at 3:15, if this bleeds into the school year. So 4 o'clock,
4 o'clock's fine.
and this is a temporary order. Keep that in mind.
Correct.
And again, by agreement, if the parties find that a different time works better, then they can deviate from that. But for purposes of having an order set in stone for both parties to follow, it'll be 4 o'clock. And then the return time during school would be just get them to school on time. And we'll just use the same time. If school starts at 8 or 7:50, as they do sometimes, where they would just be meeting at the same Quick Trip for the exchange then, if they're not in school, or what's being suggested?
Drop off at school. Or,
Well, he would drop them obviously at school during the school year if it goes
Correct.
into that.
Or
But
what about like this summer while they're not in school?
well, I know she works at 5:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning, so do I. So it would probably be better after work.
what time?
2:30, 3:30?
In the morning?
No, in the afternoon.
Afternoon.
They both work the 6 a.m. shifts.
Your Honor, we're gonna request that it not be that long. I understand that they both have to work, but if he's not gonna be able to drop them off and she's not gonna be able to pick them up, we request that the overnights just be on the weekends, because it fits both of their schedules. For the Wednesday, we can do 4 to 6 or 4 to 7,
There's no buts.
4 to 6, so that he can have some time with his dad during the week, but it sounds like yeah.
And of course, we're requesting the overnights because that's what's been taken away. And
So what are they gonna be doing though, if they're not going to school? What will they be doing in the summer? Where will they be if they're with dad on this Wednesday? In the morning up until 2:30?
It'll be at my house. My fiance works from home, so she's home all day. He has an older, soon to be stepbrother, stepsister, and a younger stepsister that they go out, they play at the pool, the rec center, go fishing, do just all normal kid stuff without just being confined into the house all day with my, adult, my partner there. So if they need anything or something were to happen, my partner's there to help and to get them to, anywhere they want to go, whether it's with friends. Everything in Valley Center is a 5-minute walk to the pool, to the pond, to the park. And sometimes they play video games together, they got dirt bikes, so they build ramps and jumps. They got some other friends that have dirt bikes, so we go take them over there into their 3 acres and they drive their dirt bikes around.
All right, Mr. or Miss Story, where are they at generally on a Wednesday, or I guess it could be Thursday, when your client's at work on the days during the summer?
They're at home, Your Honor. My client has implemented a safety plan for the children when they are at home without her. They have a phone where they can contact her if they need her. The safety plan has actually been implemented by the person she did parenting classes with. And it's been reviewed by law enforcement when a safety check was called on the children because they were at home. They have friends in the neighborhood as well at mom's. This is their normal schedule. They're used to this. She provides food. She gets home at 2 o'clock. So part of the time they're asleep, and then she makes sure they're fed and taken care of. And there's cameras in the home and outside the home to make sure everything is kosher. She will check on them periodically throughout the day to make sure that everything's okay. And she also has a partner that she lives with who has children that stay with her kids as well, and they consider them siblings as well. So
all right, for purposes of the temporary order, I'm going to follow what's been suggested by Mr. Kidwell for when they're not in school. When they are in school, Mr. Rothgeb needs to make sure they're delivered to school on time on the Thursday morning, if this is what's being used once school starts.
Your Honor, could you clarify that Thursday time when they come back?
Was 2:30 the day or the time that was suggested?
yes,
Okay, 2:30 p.m. And just so we're clear, he'll be dropping them off at her home, Mr. Kidwell, is that what he's suggesting on the Thursday return?
or if she would prefer, he can use the Quick Trip address, whichever the court prefers, but he's been going to get the child and she's been coming to take the child. So I would just ask that whatever time the court sets, that they either meet at that Quick Trip or continue what they were doing.
All right, Ms. Story, your suggestion?
Your Honor, we would request the Quick Trip. My client does not want Mr. Rothgeb at her home.
Okay, it'll be the Quick Trip will be the exchange for pickup and drop off.
Thank you.
All right, and are the weekends, every other weekend, are those already established and being used? So we know when the next one is?
Yeah, he had the child this last weekend. So he won't have the child for another week.
Okay, so they'll follow,
Well, other than the Wednesday.
okay. So they'll follow that moving forward as part of this temporary order.
Your Honor, we would like it on the record just because I think I don't think that the parties are in agreement when parenting time happens over the weekend. We're requesting it be 4 p.m. on Friday, every other weekend to 5 p.m. on Sunday.
Any objection to that suggestion, Mr. Kidwell?
understand why I can't just get them after work.
My client doesn't understand why he can't just get them after work on the every other weekend. Which is what
time
they've
would
been,
that be? What time would that be?
2:30 to 3:30-ish.
2:30 to 3:30,
Depending on how traffic is getting out.
because the space, the quick trip space is equidistant. It's basically 20 minutes each party each way.
Yeah, if she gets at home by 2, she can have them there by 2:30, 3 o'clock. Like she said, she gets home.
Well, I'm gonna do 4 o'clock on Friday to 5 o'clock on Sunday as part of this temporary order. The parties can hash out other details in domestic conciliation if they want to get into that, but you all want temporary orders, that's what we're doing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do have a question for you, Your Honor. Does this apply to Xander only, or does it apply to Breyer as well?
Well, that's what I was gonna
Okay,
discuss next. And the
Yes, sir.
exchange on the weekends, we'll still use the quick trip? Is that what the parties?
Yes,
were?
yes.
Okay.
yes, Your
All right.
Honor.
Now, I understand, Ms. Story, your request for Breyer is that the only parenting time be done therapeutically. Mr. Kidwell, is this a situation where Breyer simply is refusing to go visit his dad? Has he been having?
Yes,
No, Your Honor, it's not just he's refusing, it is he has a reaction, like he runs out of the house to go away, and we have a video of that, him running from his dad. The CSO, whatever they call those officers at the school, had to intervene, and so did the child. And I'm not saying that Mr. Rothgeb did anything wrong at the school when he went to go pick him up, but Breyer showed signs of such fear that there was a report made and he ran away again. Again.
Okay. So when was the last time that Mr. Rothgeb had meaningful parenting time with Breyer?
1 year ago.
January of
Right.
20.
Is your client willing to do therapeutic sessions with Breyer and a therapist?
And answer the judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, I mean,
But
obviously,
we don't know who the therapist is for either child,
well,
so.
the therapist names need to be provided to him.
Your Honor, they are Ginger Golden, and I believe we've talked about this before at our conferences, but we will get it sent over to him, Your Honor, in an email.
All right, that's an order of the court. I think as part of this temporary order, I don't want to have a situation where there's going to be a further divide between whatever's going on between Breyer and his dad. I don't want there to be a situation where the court's ordering him to do these visits and he's going to run away and law enforcement's going to be involved. Perhaps it gets fleshed out in domestic conciliation, but if the visits haven't been occurring right now, I'm not going to order Breyer be part of this plan. I'm going to order that Mr. Rothgeb be given the therapist name and allow him to be in contact with the therapist to set up some sort of therapy. I know this will probably drag out the situation, but at least it'll be being dealt with. If he's already in individual therapy, the therapist should have an idea of what the issues are. And then I think they'll typically want to visit with Mr. Rothgeb by himself. And then they figure out what the best way is to reestablish the relationship. But I think on a temporary basis, that's going to be the order of the court. And then hopefully, as the parties are working through domestic conciliation, those therapeutic visits will be occurring, and the domestic conciliator will have a better idea of how to set up a more permanent plan. The story, anything about that suggestion that you feel is unworkable?
No, Your Honor, that's exactly what we envisioned, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Kidwell.
No, that would be great. Like I said, once we get that, I can provide it to my client, and once they are on OFW. And the only other thing that I would request from the court is, the joint custody language that we redid right before COVID, which is 4 pages long, talking about no one has superior rights and goes into every little detail. I would ask that that be ordered.
Any objection, Ms. Story?
If he's talking about the standard statutory language that we put in parenting plans, then I have no objection, Your Honor.
All right, I'm assuming we're talking about the language that.
Yes, we are.
Okay, well, all of those orders are appropriate, so that will be what I'll expect, and I'll expect the parties to follow this agreement to a T, unless by agreement they want to modify it. But they can use the parenting app to have a record of all of that. So if one of the parties wants to change the time on a exchange, they need to do it with advance notice. If the other party is okay with it, that will all be documented. If they're not okay with it, then the modification should not occur. If it does, then we're working on contemptible issues, which I want these parties to work away from that. I mean, this court file is huge. And I don't know if, since I wasn't the original judge on it, if that's because the parties continue to not want to try to co-parent and they're back in court all the time. I don't know, but I'd like for it to stop.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did have one final question about, we requested that the parents talk with the children on the parenting app as well. I did do a Zoom with our family wizard to see if that's possible. They do make child accounts. That way, if the parties are communicating with the children, it can't just be deleted and both parties can access that. We requested that be the case in this instance, that any text messages that are going between the parties and the children go through that app.
Any
Absolutely.
objection?
No, Your Honor, absolutely.
Okay, that's an order of the court. All right, any other details of a temporary plan that, and I'll address you, Ms. Story, first, that you are requesting?
No, Your Honor, we are good.
All right, Mr. Kidwell?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, now,
Thank you, Ms. Story.
Thank you, Mr. Kidwell.
who's, Ms. Story, are you going to be drafting this temporary order?
Yes, Your Honor, I can.
Okay, and then on what are you all wanting to do about these contempt motions? Or do you think having a temporary order will alleviate the need to hash all of that out at the moment?
I think that these issues of contempt are gonna be brought up in the domestic conciliation. And I think you alluded to that, Your Honor. I suppose I just don't want to have them keep spending money, either of them.
Ms. Story, your thoughts?
Your Honor, I think with a temporary order in place and clear guidance by the court that neither party going forward will be in contempt, and I think it would be best if both parties dismissed their contempts going forward and started new with the temporary parenting plan and then go to domestic conciliation. I think they should start the slate clean and not have all of these issues, except in domestic conciliation, be brought up to help them get to a parenting plan.
I think that's a good idea. I don't see any benefit of hashing all of this out. I think the parties need to move past that. With now clear or new orders in place. I'm expecting the parties to follow those. If not, then we can bring up issues of contempt, but you all have at least 8 years left that you're going to have to deal with one another on this stuff, and you can make it miserable, and you can continue to spend money on lawyer fees and having to take off work to come into court, or you can set aside those issues or any contempt you have for one another just to focus on co-parenting these children so they don't have to be exposed to this constant infighting. It can't be good on them. So that's my lecture on that. Hopefully things will start moving a little more smoothly. Ms. Story, if you can, do we have any other, I think we have a status hearing set up sometime coming up, don't we?
I think we have one for the 8th, Your Honor, but I don't think that would be helpful since they don't start till the 15th for domestic conciliation. But I did also want to clarify if it's the court's orders that both contempts are being dismissed or not.
That's what's been suggested. Mr. Kidwell, what are your thoughts?
I think that the way that you've expressed yourself, Your Honor, is that they should, and I told my client, we should be able to start anew. If it ended up going to a trial or something, it would be brought up anyway. And I think my client agrees. He thinks that all of the competing should just be dismissed.
I mean, really, the end result of these would be for the parties to follow the court's orders. So,
yes.
Okay. Well, I think it'd be best if those were dismissed and we start fresh, and hopefully we don't have to deal with contempt issues, but we certainly can if they arise in the future. So we can go ahead and take this July 8th, 10 o'clock a.m. status hearing off of the calendar.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll remove that. And we don't have any other dates set, and I think we'll just wait for the domestic conciliation process to play out. You all both have copies of our local rule 16 regarding domestic conciliation, Ms. Story?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the process for that is laid out in there, Mr. Kidwell, and you
Yes,
also
Your
have
Honor.
a copy? All right,
Yes.
and make sure that your clients are aware of that and how that process works, so. All right, well, hopefully this will help the parties, and I hope domestic conciliation is of benefit. It really can be. I've had cases where the parties don't get along like these parties, but they're able to work out an agreement through domestic conciliation. And ultimately, it's best if the parties are the one coming up with an agreement, because that is what works best for them, not what I'm going to rule here, not being involved on a day-to-day basis. So, all right, good luck through that process. I'll just wait to get that temporary order in my queue, and if there's nothing further, we'll be in recess.